Hey everyone, this is Thyworm, and today I want to present a top 6 list of potentially interesting games to play in February, based on thumbnails on Steam and my wishlist. Games are presented in order of release. 1. Warhammer Underworld Online. The Warhammer series in video games is very much hit and miss. There are some great games out there, like Vermintide 2 and Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr, but also a load of overpriced trash. Whether this is trash or good remains to be seen, but first, what is this game? Well, it's a card game, primarily. It is an adaptation of the Warhammer Underworld board game, and it seems to stay true to its roots pretty much. If you enjoyed the tabletop version, this is probably right up your alley. Warhammer Underworld Online is a 2-player squad tactics game. You can play on ladder or versus AI, and the game will support 4 warbands: Steelheart's Champions, Magor's Fiends, Sepulchral Guard, and Iron Skull's Boys. Warbands are basically your factions with specific cards belonging to warbands. There are a bunch of neutral non-warband related cards as well, which should offer quite some variety in deck building. Rolling dice, so RNG, seems to have the upper hand, however. There are 2 trailers available, very short ones, and I must say I'm not blown away by the graphics by any means. The concept of light deck building and heavy RNG might work, but could also be suspect to change once feedback starts dripping in. The game hits early access on January 28th, which is nicely on time for some February strategic card gameplay. It will only be in early access for a few months before final release around May. 2. Vampire's Fall Origins. We're talking about an old school 2D action RPG here with open world and turn-based combat. The font alone screams Diablo 2. It has deep character creation with 4 factions, immersive stories, dialogue choices, and it is made by just 3 developers who are old school gamers and enthusiasts. This game is currently available as a mobile game, hold your horses, with no in-app purchases according to Reddit. And now this will be ported to PC. If you really miss old school action RPGs, probably with a relatively low pace, the good old graphical looks, and something to sink some serious time into, then this could be a cool game to get. It will support controllers as well, it will look better on PC than on your phone, there are Steam achievements, and it seems to me this game could really be a fun time killer. The turn-based combat may be a showstopper for some of you, but apart from that, this looks good. The game releases January 31st. 3. Stoneshard. Expect to die a lot in this game. Stoneshard is brutal. The demo is already available, and making it through the demo alone is somewhat of an achievement. This open world action RPG that is completely turn-based puts you in the shoes of a mercenary. You can pick an archetype, I think there's 4 of them, like Ranger, Mage, Knight, etc., and then be on your merry way. Stoneshard hits early access on February 6th. Reason for early access is, of course, to get community feedback. These devs from Inkstain Games seem like the bunch who handled that feedback pretty well though, because even the demo changed a few times based on feedback. That's promising, I would say. At the start of early access, Stoneshard offers 5 to 6 hours of gameplay per session. 1 settlement, procedurally generated dungeons, 60 plus enemies, 102 abilities, 200 plus items, and even procedurally generated quests. Oh, and permadeath. Early access is expected to last 1.5 to 2 years. That is a mighty long time. During this phase, new content will be added, like bosses, crafting, story mode, new settlements, and generic early access stuff like optimization and new enemies, etc, etc. I think this game has all the potential to become a cult classic, given time. 4. Eternal Edge Plus. Not sure what the plus is about. This game gets ported from the Switch to PC, and what got me clicking was the Final Fantasy inspired art. The game itself reminds me a lot of Zelda. It is super cute as well, and judging by the trailer, this is a very relaxed, not overly complex action RPG that is ideal for a controller while leaning back in your gaming chair. Now, every now and then I don't want to mash buttons in PoE or think about how to build characters in Last Epoch. Sometimes I just want to sit back and enjoy a game without having to do all that much. Go full games journalist mode, put everything on easy, good times. Now, I think Eternal Edge offers this, and it's out February 7th. Looking at the reviews though, and Metacritic really only has 1 review, there are also reasons for concern. Now, this game is released on Switch almost 2 years ago, so at least bugs and all could be fixed. Nintendo World Report, however, also talks about grindy game elements and problematic progression, so definitely a few warning signs as well. I'll keep watching the Steam reviews and see how the game is received. 5. Wolcen, Lord of Mayhem. after many years of early access. Like many years, the game is finally being released on February 13th. And for all the hardships it endured during development, and for all the weird twists and turns it made over its early access adventures, you have to hand it to the developers, the game actually looks promising. Wolcen is a not so standard action RPG with elements from classic action RPGs, but also with some other influences. Combat, for example, is quite slow. The pacing and animations take their time to complete, and the game isn't swarming you with monsters. You won't be able to rush through the levels and content like you do in Path of Exile. Combat is much more deliberate. It also suffers from animation locking, so it really depends on your preferences if you dig the combat. In terms of style, it mixes fantasy with science fiction. There's magic, like thunder spells, but also skills like the Death Gazer railgun. I enjoy this mixture. It reminds me of the Warhammer universes, mixed with some high fantasy stuff. The story in Wolcen is also pretty decent and uses all these different influences well in its narrative. Finally, the game looks and runs really well, for me at least. It's built in the CryEngine and it offers some really detailed graphics. It's one of the best looking action RPGs currently available, no doubt about it. The final release is support to offer a lot more content that is currently available in early access. I am excited. I will be playing, hopefully all the way to level 90, make a fun build and probably stream some of the progress. 6. Conan Chop Chop. This game sounds like a total meme. It probably originated as a total meme, but now it actually gets released on February 25th. Conan Chop Chop is a couch co-op game that can also be played single player. It's top down, nice and gory, features stick figures and comes with a very tongue-in-cheek sense of humor. And it just looks good and really fun to play. Chop Chop contains random maps, ruthless bosses, several biomes, quests, 14 trillion different items and astonishing combos. Just look at the trailer. Seems like a pretty amazing game, right? Let me know what your favorite game is on the list or just in general for February. Thanks for watching and making it to the end. I will see you soon. Bye bye.